Geological Survey created a new model of the valley here. And this model says basically that on average, there's a 12,000 acre-foot per year overdraft. The Water Management Agency has taken this 12,000 acre-foot overdraft average as their target. You know, we need somehow to find a way to either reduce the water use by 12,000 acre-feet or increase groundwater recharge by 12,000 acre-feet. Here's the yields, strawberry yields. And you see that over this period, 67 to 2010, right? I mean, the yields have been going up. But if you look at the period, next slide. If you look at the period, you know, just from 82 to 2005, you can see that the yields in strawberries were almost flat. So the only way you could increase strawberry production was to move out onto more land. We substituted strawberries for apples. For instance, apples use less than an acre-foot of water per acre, whereas strawberries, how much is like 2.5 acre-feet, something like that. So, you know, we substituted essentially crops that use more water for crop, either on pasture land or on apple land or on things that had been using less water. So if we're going to solve the problem, berries have to be a big part of that, but the people growing vegetables have to be a big part of that as well, or we're not going to get there. And so that's why we're holding this here today, to start talking about how can we involve everybody and figure out, you know, what we can do to reduce water use.
See, I kind of go back, my history with the PBWMA and dealing with PBWMA goes back from 1984 when we started. So I was kind of involved when they started the agency. That was a good idea at the time. And then over the years, there's been, you know, different philosophies of what direction to go. And so I was one of the leaders in, it was 96 when we passed Measure D to stop the pipeline, because we just saw, you know, really a whole shortage of water all through California. So we didn't really see the pipeline as being the solution, because we thought over the years, you know, water's going to be less in the state and we're not going to get any of it. So I was kind of disgruntled with the whole direction of the agency. And then Miles Ryder called me from Driscoll one day and said, hey, you know, I'm going to start kind of my own group and just, you know, trying to reassess the whole water issue outside of the agency. It has nothing to do with the agency. We're going to kind of do this on our own. Look at, can we do local projects? What can we do individually? What can we do as a group in the valley to, you know, do some solutions on our own? The thing is in that group where we definitely have participation with the large growers and a lot of strawberry growers, but we have very little participation in vegetables. And, you know, I feel one of the big injustices that we were done as far as the voting process of raising the fees the last time around. You know, the agency basically said it was based off of water use. So therefore, the more the problem you are, the more that you get to vote if you want to participate or not. So a lot of the large growers, so that basically down to 15 people in the valley that got to decide if we raise our fees or not. And I don't think that a lot of the smaller growers, especially in this room, were not represented at all in that process. Right now, about 95% of the funding of the agency is based off of water use. If we increase our water, if we decrease our water use by 20–30%, there's not enough funds to run the agency. So they're going to have to get funding to come back to the voters and ask for another vote. And depending on how that's structured, we can either be participants in that process or we can still be on the sidelines. And I think a lot of people kind of said, oh, well, it doesn't really affect me that much, but it will. I can assure you it will affect you.
I think what's really unique about this process is that it really kind of changes the tone when talking about water. It hasn't always been civil or polite in this valley, I think, in the past, to say the least. And that this is really unique because it focused on a series of 3 commitments. And so it was kind of being more oriented towards making progress and coming up with solutions that work rather than blaming who's responsible should have done in the past and all that stuff. So basically at every single community water dialogue meeting that happens, everybody that comes in there signs a commitment to these 3 items here. And that's really important because that really creates a real foundation for civil discourse out there. And I think that's why this has been successful and hopefully will continue to be successful. So the first one is really a commitment to protect the Pajaro Valley as an important ag resource. So everybody acknowledges that ag is really a critical piece of the valley. The second is that there will not be an importation pipeline, that we're going to solve these issues locally and not look at, to resources outside of the valley. And then the third is to really look at what are the solutions, to pursue diverse strategies where everybody is maybe investing and everybody is sacrificing in order to bring the aquifer back into balance and really tackle this issue. So that's really the kind of the point that I want to depart from, is that this is looking towards solutions and towards projects, and that we're trying to kind of move this forward, and everybody is thinking. It's not just a couple of agencies that are doing something. People are starting to explore and experiment out there, and it's pretty exciting, all the stuff that's happening. So within the whole community water dialogue structure, it's broken into a few different groups here. And so they're all kind of responsible for different strategies within the whole approach. So there's the irrigation and land management group that really looks at kind of what are the land use decisions that are happening out there, what are the decisions that happen around irrigation, what are ways that irrigation can be more efficient, or what are some of the technologies out there to help. There's a recharge group that's looking at what are the areas all over the valley that there's room to do actual recharge of the aquifer, so putting water, either stormwater or tailwater or other water resources back into the ground to replenish the aquifer. And then the third one is big projects. So what are the huge kind of infrastructure projects out there that can help solve this issue? And that ties a lot in with some of the stuff that PBWMA is working on, as well as the last part, which is the basin management plan and the ad hoc committee. So that's guiding the basin management plan for PBWMA to ensure that these issues do get